Okay, something slightly more gothic there for this one. Can you tell it's going to be a... I forget these have like actual names by the time most people see them. But yeah, it's going to be another of the Billy Wood's new album. However, I recently listened to the new Arm & Hammer album with The Alchemist, which Arm & Hammer, for those who aren't familiar, is Billy Wood's and Elucid. And yeah, this album Mercy is really good. It's got a lot of really fun stuff on as well. Yeah, I really, I recommend you go and listen to that. But today we're gonna finish off Golliwog, and yeah, we got up to a dollar full of pins last time, so we're gonna go quite a few tracks to get through, but we'll see how we go. Starting with Golgotha. Anyone know what Golgotha is? That's right, well done. Golgotha is the place where they inserted the blade. It's the place where Jesus was crucified. So this is going to be a sad one, isn't it? We're looking out for what features make this a cohesive album, aren't we? We're looking for things often to do with that horror aspect. Now we had a lot of songs last time that really did that. The first, for a dollar full of pins, though, I say it every time, a doll full of pins, a doll fuller pins, did not. That did something slightly different. It's still slightly creepy, but just in not quite the same way and not to the same degree, slightly more approachable. So let's see how we are going on. Let's just check we're on the right speaker setup. There we go. Okay, and here we go.
Out of chars and ashes, like golden salamanders, the old years, the green years will leap.
Okay, already quite a few things. Very noisy chord with metallic timbres. Sounds very abrasive, sounds very in your face. Not particularly loud, especially in comparison to that vocal sample saying something. It sounds like an old film. They're all talking in the oldie worldy fashion where everything is very well pronounced. What could it be from, I wonder? Slightly transatlantic kind of speech, isn't it? Halfway between the UK and America. I don't know, it sounds more UK to me, but that might be my bias coming out. As well as that, there's the kind of woo 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 texture as well, and more importantly, the texture is not staying static. We're evolving straight away. Let's hear it again.
Out of chars and ashes, like golden salamanders, the old years, the green years will leap. Roses sweeten the air.
Yeah, actually not as well pronounced as I thought. It is more of an American sound, so I don't know where I got that from, but the yeah, there's a little bit of slurring, which to me indicates a little bit of intensity, a little bit of tension on the part of the singer or the speaker. Anyway, we're starting to get more whoop sounds here.
White hair turns black.
And then suddenly into that. Let's hear that change again. Go from about 5 seconds in.
Old years, the green years will leap. Roses sweeten the air. White hair turns.
Yeah, so that whoop is really just a guiding thing into the next section. We get this relative calm with only the vocal sample really carrying on. And then we're in with this big C minor chord, which is a little bit sharper. Hey, I recently realized how I changed the pitch on this audio. If I move that over there, tune. So it sounds like we are a little sharper than 440. How's this? That's a bit too high, isn't it? That's a little too high still. Let's hear this chord again. I did disconnect, dang it. Yeah, well, more like that then. So down at around, yeah, something like 432 hertz. Our good old friend. Anyone familiar with 432 hertz? 432 hertz is the resonance of the universe. Lots of people have a special thing about 432. I don't, but you know, it's flatter than the average pitch you get from songs these days, so it will sound a little bit darker in a certain way. Our ears will be less attuned to it probably, or more, they will resonate more happily with it. I don't know. Some people really love it.
Roses
Here it comes again.
The air. White hair turns black. Wrinkles vanish. Everything flies back to sea. Flee death.
Ghouls glued to the screen till he stopped moving. That's the thing about a chess piece. Gotta peep how he moving.
So that's our chord sequence. It's pretty cool. What am I doing? We get this chromatic movement down, and then yeah, it ends there, doesn't it? It's something like, yeah. Let's hear it one more time.
Turns black. Wrinkles vanish.
So it's that, with that in the bass, so that makes it slightly. So we go from this nice C minor to this B flat augmented chord.
Everything.
Yeah. And then to this, which is a relatively nice chord, D flat major, but with the A flat in the bass, so it doesn't quite sound as settled as it would normally. And then
flies back to sea.
Yeah. So classic lament bass here. Boom, 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 boom. Hit the road, Jack. Don't you come back no more, no more, no more, no more. Hit the road, Jack. Don't you come back no more. What you say? Right. This is that. It's also lots of other things. There's a little bit of when I am late, I'm late enough. It's got similarities to really old classical pieces, which I think use exactly the same thing. So this is a really ancient bass pattern, but we've done a slightly different thing with the chords over the top. We're not normally going to get this chromatic movement in these parts. That's a little more unusual, a little more jazzy, and that gives us some unusual matchups between that very common bass part and the top part. It's also nice that these are moving in sixths, these two notes. It gives them a weird consonance. They sound very comfortable together, and it's just that everything else sort of doesn't quite match them in a weird way. Ah, come on now.
Ghouls glued to the screen till he stopped moving. That's the thing about a chess piece. Gotta peep how he moving. Gotta play.
There's also a piano in the background. This main part is saxophones, but then there's this piano which is doing some sort of improv in the background, which sounds a lot more free and strange, not connected to the rest of the track. It's in the same key pretty much. It's in C minor, but yeah, it's a long way away in space. Whereas the drums, the bass, and the saxophones are all very close, as are the vocals.
Stupid. The king sleep in the doom ship. Hubris outside Rude Chris. Every bird get his wings clipped. Munitions flying in an empty sky. I saw a lion at the Bronx Zoo.
So it isn't actually improv. It is repeating and it's basically doing pentatonic C minor things. But it is repeating every, well, let's say 4 bars, shall we? If this is a 1, 2, 3, 3, 4, I guess it would only be 2 bars at that kind of speed. 1, 2, unless you count 1, 2 end bar, 1, 2, which is slow enough that you could consider it that way, definitely. So 4 bars or 2 bars, but anyway, it's repeating each segment along with the saxes, along with the bass, along with the drums.
When I was 9, it's stuck in my mind. Sometimes feeling like.
So there's a little bit of a reticence with the drums. They are occasionally slightly behind where you would expect them to be. This is most noticeable on the snare. So the snare has this kind of as another sound hits, and then the snare hits each second beat and each fourth beat.
Tigon shrines cover the fuselage, cut them down in a line, brother. Fuselage shuddering as the plane climb. You know I.
Okay, a different but very similar pattern there. Going from the 4th of the key. Yeah. So that kind of thing. Not quite that though, is it? Let's go back again. Let's check it.
Munitions flying in an empty sky. Saw a lion at
Here's our main one.
When I was 9, it's stuck in my mind. Sometimes feeling like the Tigon shrines cover the fuselage, cut them down in a line, brother. Fuselage shuddering as the plane climb. You know I prayed to everyone.
That's the lower one, and that's the. Oh, okay. So they're in thirds here. So probably something like that. Let's check it one more time.
Feeling like the Tigon shrines cover the fuselage, cut them down in a line, brother. Fuselage shuddering as the plane climb. You know I prayed to every one of them motherfuckers.
Yeah, so that's there's slightly less going on there, but the parts are still moving together at the same time as they would do in the previous section, and the bass is not constantly going down. Here we go, F, E flat, D, and then we jump up to G. Okay, so a little bit different. It's going very closely with the lower of the saxophone sounds, which goes do do do, but then it stays on the D as the bass comes up to G. Okay, the higher one do 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 do, it still has a bit of fun chromatic movement down there, having that F sharp there, which then resolves to an F for the G7 chord, and then probably brings us back to a C minor chord, doesn't it? So these are old-fashioned chord progressions, really, but they're associated with sadness, and that association goes across a wide variety of music, mainly Western music. We'll be honest. I don't know of any specific music from anywhere else that uses lament bass lines or has particularly harmony-focused bass anyway. Regardless, this is what's happening here, is we've got the connection to that sorrow music from hundreds of years ago. And there we go, we're back to C minor.
Money comes slow like publishing. House full of ghosts, half wonder if I'm one of them. When they come asking, go ahead and tell them what you know. Truth be told, you never even knew my government. Many years ago, my...
And I suppose also the slow tempo of it is also very mournful. If this was really going fast, you know, then I wouldn't be able to play it. But it would sound very, very different, wouldn't it? Hit the Road Jack, for instance, doesn't really sound like a sad song. Sounds like maybe there's some anger there or something like that, because it's faster rather than this mournful, slow pace.
Mother and I made a covenant. I look in their eyes when they get what they coveted. Fire in the sky, satellites plummeted.
Okay, a little bit of that weird psychedelic reverb delay sound that we've got on a few different tracks here coming onto the vocals there. The vocals are doing similar things to other tracks where we have rhymes, but they don't happen at expected parts in the progression of music. So they might come first one on the fourth beat, first one on then the second one on the second beat, or something like that. So they're not just always coming in the same part of the bar. So this makes it a more exciting experience, but also, I guess, to some degree, makes it slightly more tense because you don't know what to expect.
G showed me the whistle and said he not getting cut again. He got 213 months, but he never got cut again. Everything buffering, reality lag and jump.
Yeah, so I think that sound before the snare is actually a clap. So we get dum dum dum. Not quite like that. Dum dum dum. That kind of thing. We get them really, really soon after each other. Yeah, that's as good as I'll do.
Times barely recognize the people I love. It run hot, fast like arterial blood. Splashy kicks, the knife slip, slippery. Wrist. Can't lie, some of these rappers do be glittering.
So nice, I think, ending with arterial blood there, and that's the end. But that, let's just go back just in case I am completely wrong, but I don't think that rhymed with anything. So it was just the end of the phrase, and then we carry on with a new set of words. They may be in some way connected. As I say, I don't really focus on words, but either way, it's arterial blood, pause, and then that really resonates, and it's quite an unusual thing to hear as well, and slightly a scary thing to hear.
213 months, but he never got cut again. Everything buffering, reality lag and jump. Sometimes barely recognize the people I love. It run hot, fast like arterial blood.
So people I love, arterial blood. Arguably, there's a rhyme there. It's not the most clear thing, but I think it's fair. It's definitely a fair connection to make. So okay, there is some level of rhyme, but it's half or well, an incomplete rhyme at least, and so that's an uncomfortable thing. As well as that, it comes suddenly at the beginning of a next thing. Let's just say that again.
Barely recognize the people I love. It run hot, fast like arterial blood.
Yeah, so we get that first chord coming back in, arterial blood. So we would expect that to be, if we were running on standard expectations, we would expect to go arterial blood, and then come with the next one starting after that finish. But this runs over the line, arterial blood. So then we've already started the next sequence by the time we get to the end of the line. So another thing that adds to that uncomfortability feeling.
Splashy kicks, the knife slip, slippery, wrist. Can't lie, some of these rappers do be glittering, embittered, but still air kiss.
So there was more of a standard one where glittering, we get the next thing after glittering, right? Makes sense.
Kiss death, black lipstick on my neck in bed. She's a dead fish, but it's more to life than sex.
Okay, more than sex, as we bring it to the next chord for the next sequence. It's nice to have two different ones as well. This is not super common in hip hop. It's nice to have two separate chord sequences that are coming one after the other. Makes it connect, I guess, more to other forms of music, more to pop music, more to well, does this feel like jazz? Sort of, saxophones inevitably have this connection to jazz, but the lament is not strictly a jazz thing, but it definitely has been used in jazz. It's used in blues, clearly. So anyway, we're connecting to larger forms of music, and one of the ways we're doing that is having these two repetitive sequences rather than just the standard one sequence that we might get in a generic hip hop track. This is not a generic hip hop track, though, is it? None of these are. We've come now with this new section, not new, but our second section, we've come to more voiceover rather than rapping, haven't we? And it's in another language. Not the first time this has happened. I think it's the first time it's a Slavic language, though. I couldn't tell you what language is used, but it really sounds Slavic to me. And I have some level of understanding of what's going on with Slavic. Hang on. Oh yeah, Messiah Music. Okay, fine. We did have a producer. I thought this might just be Billy Woods on this one.
Needful things.
Okay, and it was really only for that moment, adding in a foreign language spoken by what sounds like a woman. Okay, fine. What's the purpose of this? I don't know. It's difficult to know if you don't know what the words are. Unsettling though, just a strange moment where you go, huh. It makes you want to delve deeper into this insanity, doesn't it? Maybe not everyone. Have we got a new verse starting then?
I hear what they say in the light of day, but let's see what the night brings. The flap of ragged wings.
Okay, yes. But here the drums have sort of dropped somewhat. We're getting still crash cymbal. Ooh, is it crash? Might be just ride cymbal actually, but it's very splashy. Whatever it is, it's got this big sound to it. And that's really the only thing that's carrying on, apart from claps, keeping that backbeat going. So we can hear the dum, clap, do, do, do. Yeah. Another thing that I haven't mentioned that's weird about this chord sequence is that we're not changing on the beats where we would expect. It's actually, we go 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So we change in between the 3 and the 4 there. And then when we get to the next chord, which does come on the beat, we do get the next one on the beat. We get that, but then that immediately changes to this one, okay? So we're getting some things on the beat as we might expect, and then other things are just coming slightly after the beat in a strange, uncomfortable manner.
Black Thanos finger snaps, 5 gems on a 4-finger ring. There's no going back no more. We drew lots in the dark corridor.
Yeah, I think it probably is crash because it has this quite complicated sound afterwards. But I think it's really softly hit, or they've taken off the most aggressive part of the sound and we're only getting like slightly after the hit. It's a little bit of a strange noise. And I could be wrong. Let me know if you know anything more.
Kill the king, our sweat sting. Yeah, doggy, we need them things. Hand speed like bing, bing, bing. I used to love her, now I see it was just a fling. Two glasses out the
That's our second section again.
Drink.
And there's our extra voice again. Our extra voice and I think Billy Woods. Talking to that voice, not in this on voice, right? It's not in the on voice. It's just in the relaxed spoken voice. Yeah, more of that voice, isn't it? More of that voice. Guiding us out, probably. I mean, we've got 20 seconds left, so it could change to something else, but it feels like it's winding down. Okay. A thunderstorm in the background, and the voice from the beginning, I think, could be another voice, but it's another old film kind of voice, different to this Slavic language voice. This one is crisper, closer, more professionally recorded, whereas the other one feels more old-fashionedly recorded, so it has a bit more crunchiness to the sound. I think it is actually a different voice, and I think it is again in another language. It would be lovely to see if someone has teased out all the languages in this record and found out what they mean. Maybe it's on Genius. Shall we have a look? Why not? Let's have a look. Golgotha, Billy Woods. Lyrics. Outro. Oh, wow. Hey, that doesn't even look like a Slavic language to me, but it's there. Gosh, what is that script? It's Greek, isn't it? Wow, no. Okay, it's Georgian. Georgian. Wow. Okay, and there is a translation of it. Apparently it's a continuation of what was in the bridge. Yeah, fun stuff. Feel free to look at that yourself. Quite an exciting story. Definitely, yeah, uncomfortable subject matter, similar to what is no doubt going on this album. But interestingly, they have the one voice, but maybe the second voice then continues it, I guess, or maybe it's saying the same thing, but they only have one particular bit of dialogue there. Okay, and slightly stranger use of the saxophones at the end here. They've been locked into their particularly chromatic groove the whole song, and now they're being let free a little bit. It's a little bit more free, and there's strange reverbs. Again, going with that psychedelic side of the record that we have heard a fair few times. Okay, and what happens now? Cold Sweat.
Leave anything in the past.
Yeah, quite a nice chord there. Let's see. Okay, we're more back in 440 now. Let's turn that all the way around. Hopefully we didn't disconnect again. Let's just check. Yeah, we're okay. And we've got like a C sharp minor. That's our like main chord, and then something like that. Let's hear it again.
We don't leave anything in the...
Yeah. Okay, so the bass moves like that. 1, 5, 8. Lovely. Okay, C sharp minor. But then this chord is really a C major chord that then resolves with the C and the G upwards to C sharp and G sharp. The E is the same for both chords. Okay, that's pretty clashy. We've got a C sharp and a G sharp in the bass with a C and a G up here. They do resolve, but it's quite a powerful chord to begin with. Very, very aggressive.
It must be nice for those who remember.
Again, we've got sort of an onslaught of lots of voices at the same time, haven't we? Some recorded previous, maybe some sampled, some definitely recorded in the studio, and so they're just overlapping in an overwhelming manner.
Let me tell you, my darlings, these are laughter lines.
And then we've switched from all of those to just one. Let me tell you, my darlings. Just one voice there. So this one must be more important to listen to.
I have my communities.
Okay, but it's only that one particular bit. These are laughter lines. I wonder. Yeah, the mind boggles. So many individual, probably quite arcane references that are in this album that it's not easy to tease apart. I like a lot of films, but I haven't recognized most of these film quotations, which I assume is what they are. So that's fun. Anyway, carrying on.
Sick when they unraveled, our time travelers still picked off.
In the first section, we didn't have the snare, but now we do in the main verse here.
Full military. Niggas asked, is this as dark as it get? Put a finger to my lips, shook my head. Hallway was barely lit, air thick with dread. It's a room full of record execs on the other end. And
so as well as the bom, dom, dom that we have in the piano, we've actually just got a bom, bom, bom in the bass. The bass is just holding that down while the piano moves. So we have a heavier bass in this section.
Dancing on the desk, wake up in a cold sweat. In a barber chair, math hard for asking if anyone tried to make you wear a dress. Wake up in a cold sweat, laid up next to your ex.
Yeah. That almost felt like he was waiting for the rhyme to meet the place, didn't it? But that's obviously not what has actually happened here. He said old to make a point. But that's a lyrical point, and I have no idea what it could possibly be. So we'll leave that. But yeah, a lot of syncopated flow here. A lot of stuff that's you know, we've got the beat going, and then it's da 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 da, right? So we got the da but da. So coming in between those beats, not da da or da da like that. Okay, it's not coming on the beat. It's fitting in between, which makes a more interesting listening experience, but again, also a slightly more uncomfortable one.
Never broke up, duplex, West 86, 3 beautiful kids to get up and make their own beds. But the way she popped that, I knew I was gonna wake up, I ain't even...
We also have a few just clicks and pops going on. I think they're mainly in the left speaker, but just like, it's a little bit like old grainy vinyl, where you occasionally get these clicks, not quite as high fidelity as that, but you do get them. And I can't tell if that's deliberate or not, but let's assume it's deliberate, in which case it's another unsettling thing. In fact, it would be unsettling even if it wasn't deliberate.
Trip, cold sweat, my place is a mess. Landlord trying to empty the building so he can make it flip. I'm the only one left, they mad, I'm stopping the grip. I'm glad cause the shoe on the other foot and it fit. Every slave dream of the day, get a hold of the whip.
Yeah, so, and it fit was just before the beat, so, and it fit, right, and that comes later. And hold of the whip, similarly, it doesn't come hold of the whip, which is what someone with my level of understanding of music would do. It's bad stuff.
She didn't grin, I pay rent, they mad as shit. They trying to wake up, but it's the same N-word again and again with the same check. They tried threats, they offered me bread, begged me to talk sense.
Okay, so a few there where they were actually on the beat. The bread, mate, begged me to talk sense. What's the significance of that? If it's switching from on the beat to off the beat, you can argue that that's an unsettling thing as well, because it's not settling into a particular setting. You could also make a point that if it's coming on the beat after being off the beat for a while, that implies significance to those particular words.
How you want this thing to end? You said it.
Sounds a bit like the piano is getting crushed by something else in the mix. And there's a whoop whoop whoop, something happening here.
Who said anything about... Hold on. Why would it end? I love it here. I'm not trying to go anywhere, man. Y'all my people.
Okay, so again, we're spoken rather than on voice. There's no on voice here. It's not trying to deliver something in an oratory style. It's spoken. It's parlando. It's really deliberately conveying things in a more calm manner. But also, there's another vocal sample in the background. Again, very crushed. So it sounds like it's through a telephone speaker or something like that. And this one's a sung one, male sung one. Interesting. We've got the musical saw or something. Woo!
Why would it end? Maybe I'm crazy.
You don't need me to explain why that's scary, do you?
That's how it ended, man.
The close I described.
Okay, another recorded something from maybe a film. Doesn't sound like this has been recorded in the studio.
But the close he was buried.
the drums have sort of come down quite a lot. The hi-hat wasn't there for a moment. It has come back as we stopped it there. But yeah, we're dealing with a slightly less on texture here, less thick, more sparse.
Piece of paper that he gave me. She brought a letter that he wrote her when he was in the army.
Yeah, the I don't know what it is actually, but the piano keeps fading unexpectedly and then coming back in suddenly. Again, a creepy, scary thing to do. Not something you would think of doing. Really deliberate, small, subtle feature.
Signature's identical. There's only one thing that was different. I said he had a high voice.
And what's interesting about this vocal sample is that there's lots of pauses between short phrases. Almost sounds like someone's taking it down on a dictaphone and they're trying to think of what to say. It's really interesting.
She said, oh, no, she said. Had a deep voice like yours.
There's a little guitar in the background there. Where are we? Yeah, doing something there. Just a little, very nasal sounding guitar. Just needling around in the left headphone, quite far back in the mix. Oh, and gone. There it is.
This story happened to a guy like me, and as I say, it's been haunting me.
It's been haunting me. Ooh. Yeah. And then everything fades down, but we get this noise from that. So it sounds like there's a distortion level on it that suddenly is louder than the actual track there, which is an interesting thing to hear as the final sound. Yeah, I mean, we're following in a pattern here. Maybe Doll Full of Pins and Golgotha are the more conventional tracks on here. This was pretty much just a verse with then a long sample at the end of it, wasn't it? Nothing much more to say about the structure of this track, except in small details where the drums come out or the piano fades down. Interesting. Okay, Black Zombie. Very low.
The person you're talking to is a very experienced person. There are not many things in the world that I don't know.
You're very crazy.
Really similar start then to quite a few of these tracks. Not absolutely establishing the groove straight away, having a little bit of freeform noise with a few different vocal things overlapping each other. The bass in particular was sort of finding its feet in here. This really low D here. Bow. That one's fine. That one is just super, super low, rumbly sound. And we get badad as we're coming in, the drum fill.
Very experienced person. There are not many things in the world that I don't know.
You're very crazy.
Yeah, fun. Okay, so it seems like we're probably in D minor or D Phrygian maybe. Very low anyway.
During post-colonial African zombie.
Are we actually? Yeah, we're more or less in 440 here. Yeah. Okay.
State chase the people into the waves. Watch every ship and raft till it disappear. Whether it...
Yeah. So it's going. Oh, sorry. From this D. So we're going up from the D to E flat to F, and then back down to D. And each of these sort of has a slightly major feel to it. I can't tell if it's actually there. Everything. Or I drove myself into the water. What did I see? Black-eyed angel swam with me. It doesn't do that, does it? Either way, there's a very Radiohead feeling to those chords, but also they exist in Spanish battle-associated music, Yeah, it's this fun, what's it called? Phrygian sharp 3. But the thing about Phrygian sharp 3 is it insists that the sharp 3 should always be there. That's that one. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. But in this one, it's there for the first chord. And then for the third chord, it's switched back to the flat 3. Can you hear that? So that's not really what's going on. It's not Phrygian sharp 3. It's Phrygian with an occasional sharp 3, or maybe even thinking slightly more octatonic in this respect. It would be an irregular octatonic scale with just an extra chromatic note in there. But that's kind of what's going on. So there we are. And we've got this really high, it's not super high, some kind of flute instrument, sorry, more like a clarinet instrument really.
Make it a watery grave, hey, who's to say? Right.
It actually is it's much more of a string instrument. Yeah. Yeah. It's nice though, it's very sort of Kashmir by Led Zeppelin is another thing that it kind of sounds like, especially with this slow drum beat. It's fairly fun.
Way zombies stop going all crazy, they whole game changed like Jose. Walking Dead, no way.
There's another melody that's come in the middle there. Just walking up the scale with this oddly grainy guitar sound to it.
Brother, the uninterred Hopkins Rangers roving. You already know that chauffeur Gold Mercedes is a go.
There's a strange like pad chord instrument in the background, and it isn't quite easy to hear what it's doing. It feels like it's doing sort of sympathetic chords, maybe around this range, but they're not quite what you would expect.
Bit of harvest where the house of traders are hawking is that oil gotta flow. Zombies go home to platters of prawn and Asgard go. Moet Sean Dog.
But with all these things, there's very little cohesion. Not a lot of things are moving at the same time. Even this is not really going on the beat. The beat is very consistent, although it occasionally drops out. But all the things are holding long notes and then doing flurries of movement and holding again and then coming back down. So it's a lot of different moving parts which are overlapping in a confusingly intricate fashion. Very different to the previous track.
Bottles bust against the bows of boats. Zombies fucking on hoes and zombies too though. New mothers struggle while the zombies.
Yeah, and we're occasionally getting other notes. Woo! Yeah, something like that from that higher violin sound, which sounds like it's again through this sort of old-timey filter, so it sounds really like an old film. Maybe a western or something would be an appropriate thing to connect this to.
Suckle like baby goats, newborns in the bush, head stove in with stones. Sahel to Savannah, zombies roam in Ferragamo and Calm de Garçon. Now that you're gone, the city's a quiet boy, the slums are calm. University's empty, the troublemakers is drowned, they're driving Uber overseas. The
yeah, so there's another of the missing moments of drums, and then the rest of the drums come in with that powerful hit. Suddenly, again, what does that do? Does it disrupt things? Well, no. To be honest, these kinds of pauses are very, very common. We get them in lots of different pop music. A pop stop, I've occasionally heard them called. So you just like stop everything and then bang, come back in. Or maybe you stop most things and leave one particular track to take the focus. Often a vocal track, but not always. And here we have a vocal track taking the focus. Let's hear it again.
City's a quiet boy, the slums are calm. University's empty, the troublemakers is drowned. They're driving Uber overseas.
Da 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 da. Maybe it's because that is one of the more rhythmically complicated moments, and so to clear everything up, it's nice to take everything out. But that said, it fits quite nicely at the end of, I think, a 4-bar loop there. So regardless, It's either good programming by everybody involved or just a wonderful coincidence. Okay, and now in this section we've just got that that bass, that low bass sound. It sounds like an acoustic bass actually, and it might be fretless as well, which might suggest it's not even a bass but maybe like a massive mandola or something like that. Do I mean mandola? Let me just check that. There's so many words for guitar shaped instruments, I forget which ones are which. No, I totally don't mean mandola. I've forgotten what it is. Big round bass guitar. Let's say that's just going to give me bass guitars, isn't it? Dang. Used in mariachi bands. What's it called? Guitarron. Yes, of course. The guitarron. How could I even forget guitarron? It could be a guitarron, which are these massive massive bass guitars, sometimes with rounded backs. They're really good. They generally also have 6 strings like a normal guitar, and they don't have frets, which would suggest that that would be the one we're talking about. They are quite hard to play, actually. I'm a fan of the sound, but not a fan of the playing. Guitarron, doing these low bum 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 bum. And the reason I think it's that is because fretless instruments often have a slightly more approximate indication of where those semitones are, and that's what I can hear from this one. Most important thing about this section is that we've lost a lot of that high stuff. A lot of the polyphonic confusion that was going on is not here now, so it's much clearer, much cleaner.
Stuffed in loafers, ride on the wind. Rap money in the cushions of the sofa. Ceiling fans spin slower. Pan-African money, folder, Arab money, Jew money. Keep new money somewhere.
Okay, and then they come in there. That chordal instrument in the middle, doing that, or something like that, really has a feel of Kashmir by Led Zeppelin. It's that mellotron, different string sounds being played at the same string tape sound being played at different speeds. It's a really fun hauntological feeling thing, isn't it, with the more clear one at the top as well, which is lovely.
Sunny, it can't get frozen. Chinese funny, we keep everything in USD. We really know them. We really know them. We really know them. Zombie.
Another big pause there, but this one treated very differently to the other one. The other one had an explosion of lyrics over the top, but this was just, we really know them. Okay, so just for that repetition of that line, used in a very different fashion. And then afterwards we've come in with a whole lot more, haven't we?
So you are a Kashmir.
Different vocal samples. Again, they feel like they're talking to each other. And we've also got zombie multi-tracked in the background as well. And it sounds like we've got another melodic instrument. We haven't got the guitar doing this scale thing anymore, but we do have another instrument.
I'm not accountable, but I know what I'm doing. Because I cannot be accountable.
I think, maybe I'm wrong about that. I got distracted by that mosquito that suddenly came near me.
For what I didn't, I'm not the one who started the violence. But I treated the violence.
Oh, it's just creepy, isn't it? Yeah, properly. You can hear the close one, but then there's also, like, it feels like there's a mountain of them coming from the sides.
But the system automatically treated it is not
Most things have faded out now. Actually, the guitar we can hear in the background there still.
a dictatorial state.
Oh,
It's not an Egypt. It's not a Sudan.
and there's the mellotron. Giving us that B, yeah, occasional extra note.
It's not a Libya.
Yep. And there's the absolute mountain of flies that has just come to our zombie house. Nice. Yeah, powerful, scary stuff. heavy beat, and complicated intertwining things. Fun. Yeah, still very much in keeping with the mood of everything else that's going on, isn't it? It's cool to hear that. Okay, we do still have 4 tracks left, so I'll do my best to get through these.
You want to see nobody like me for like 12 other years. You see what they do all the time. I'm different level. You crazy? You can't even coach my type of style. They style is regular.
It's easy for you, but it's hard.
Very similar beginning then, again, a vocal sample over an emerging beat. But this one has a slightly different in, and it doesn't have this cut where things suddenly become the verse. It merges into the verse in an interesting way.
They style is regular.
It's easy for you, but it's hard.
They style is turbulent or something like that, and then da 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 da. It's easy for you just takes straight over, and that happens over the bar line. So turbulent, I think, comes on the first beat, and then it just flows straight into the verse after that.
Hard for me to forget the things we did because we had to eat. At least that's what we said when we did the deeds. Some lost their lives, some still ain't losing.
We've got some nice chords here, but they're sort of in the background. But yeah, we're sort of in the same kind of place. D major, E flat major, but maybe weighting a bit more on the E flat in this one. Again, a really slow beat.
I said what I said, you can tell them you heard it from me.
And we've got a few different moving parts. Yeah, we've got almost, in fact I think it is, like a augmented chord there from the D augmented, and doing arpeggios of it in the background on a keyboard, on a piano. There's some sort of like soft clarinet. Does feel like a real clarinet now, not a clarinet sounding instrument, which is the best I can do at identifying the one in the previous track.
I said what I said, you can tell them you heard it.
Very jazz influenced kind of thing, very soft. Yeah, and again playing with this D augmented chord, which is lovely. Yeah.
For me, I told a few lies in my time, but never once over a beat. Make no.
Lot of bass in this one. Bum 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 bum, and the bass sound itself is very dry, not really amped up, and quite full of I want to say like mid-range, but I'm not entirely sure that's what I mean. It's got quite a lot of air to it in an interesting way. Yeah, so a lot of that. It feels more lo-fi, this one, to some degree. The things don't feel like they're mixed in the way you would expect. Some things are louder than you expect, and things occasionally seem to suddenly burst into focus, sort of like the mosquito or the fly on the previous track. So that's an interesting connection to make.
Mistake. There's no more room inside the safe. There's safety in numbers, but brothers hating others. Patiently wait till the day you make that, and then you up out of here without a trace. Not a whole lot left to say unless.
Yeah. So we have a while on the E flat and a while on the D augmented, and it really feels like a resolution when we get back to the E flat. It's nice. But it happens again, not on the first beat of the bar. We get on the second beat of the bar.
You say your name when they start to take that part. Hey, young fella, here go another story about back.
You know, that might actually not be a clarinet. It might well be a saxophone. I'm really bad at identifying woodwind, it seems.
In the day, what's his name? Backed it out on Avenue A. Everybody backing away, stammering and stuttering. Make no mistake, we flying, but my foot fluttering on the brakes. They cookie cuttering.
Yeah, so this one overall doesn't feel quite as scary, does it? But it's still got weird production things going on that are not easy to explain.
I'm guilty too, how I'm flipping crime and punishment playing in their face. Mama, I'm so sorry. I'm talking since it was Fat Joe, Big Pun, and Triple Six. Lord is my witness, I was squinting through a cloud of haze. So
that I'm so sorry that we got there was again connected to this dub delay kind of sound in this, what, dream world is it? I don't know. Maybe that's what it's going for. Something not this dry front mix that most of the things here have got.
Stutter, drop, dip, Euro step. When they say it's off beat, that's when I know I got him on skates. Needle in the arm, how he made his escape. People stay stuck in their ways. Who am I to judge? Blow me a dub before I even wash my face.
It's actually a little unfair to say that it's all dry, actually, because there is quite a small reverb space on the main vocal. It sounds like it's in quite a small sort of wooden room maybe, and it has this quite quick what are they called? It's been ages since I thought about them. The first echoes, I can't remember what they're exactly called, but reverb space is often calculated quite importantly by the first echoes that you hear back, and it sounds like those are very close, and so we're getting this quite quick imprint back of the same voice.
This system will take your answer,
but like not quite as much as an actual reverb would do. It's at a much lower level, and it feels like it's slightly coloured by the room.
Traditions and twist them indigenous mountain villages making coke paste. Still living hand to mouth, make no mistake. I never liked the guy, but gave him.
So the extra vocal there, make no mistake, in that more parlando, that more spoken under voice, but still doing it in the same rhythm as the higher voice. And that one carries on with the echo afterwards as well. It would be interesting to see a thesis of what all these voices are used for, what the specificity behind each choice is, and whether you can actually make a decision about that kind of thing.
Grace, only to find out I was right the first time. I hide everything in the rhymes, that's why I need a dog on stage. Make no mistake, what you should have did, just sit on your shoulder.
Okay, so we've finished the verse. I doubt we'll get another verse, because a lot of these have just been a verse and then they've been ending or doing something separate for the end. But now we've got some singing. Sounds like it's actually Billy singing.
What you could have been haunt you as you get older. What you should have did, just sit on your shoulder.
Yeah, I mean, not the most in tune thing I've ever heard.
What you could have been haunt you as you get older.
Older. Yeah, so if we're around this chord, we wouldn't expect older, but it's kind of nice. Yeah, doesn't really fit with either of the chords particularly well, but it's you know, in the spirit of jazz, we have extended chords, so you know, it feels more comfortable than some things might, but still it's a little bit unsettling having this voice separate but still trying to do the same thing as the other thing. It's weird.
What you should have did, just sit on your shoulder. What you could have been.
And it just fades. And then we've got another film thing, haven't we? Yeah. Someone said at some point that they want their albums to be like film. I mean, God, so many people have. But yeah, I mean, this is going towards that. In fact, I think it was probably RZA about the first Wu-Tang Clan album. I think that's why it's special, because that one is kind of one of the first to do this sort of thing, and it has become such a staple now. I feel we've had enough of them. At least I have at this point. I don't need any more obscure film lines in this album, but there we are. You know, it is a way of getting out of a track, isn't it?
Never know what she'll say next.
And it also is slightly uncomfortable.
And she looks so real. The way her
This one though doesn't sound like a film, does it? It sounds like an ad.
lips move like yours. You can have fun keeping secrets together. What kind? If we told, they wouldn't be secrets anymore.
Horrendous. Absolutely nightmare material there. I am sorry for broadcasting it to everybody. Billy Woods, you should be sorry. Yeah, it's horrible. Okay, so we're again playing in this one with slightly more lo-fi aesthetics. Yeah. I don't know, something like that. B minor. There's actually that in there. That's quite nice, isn't it? E minor then. E minor 9 maybe. But yeah, the piano is not quite in tune altogether. It feels like it's recorded onto tape. Also, again, feels super old world sound, but the tape especially is important here because tape doesn't always run at the same speed. If you have a little blip in your electricity, it will go ooh, it'll have a dip in it, or maybe ooh, it'll run slightly hotter for a moment. Yeah, it's really variable tape.
Dead man shoes, double dare you to rock 'em.
Nice to have that sudden stop there for the drums to come in and hit, and then into the verse. Much stronger intro then than we've heard on the previous ones, and not with a sample either. So cool, not with a vocal sample, that is. Yeah, cool, big difference. And the drums feel so much louder, the delivery feels so much stronger, and the backing is fine, is comfortable, but the other two things are really hitting hard now now that they've been given that silent isolation point. It's really cool.
Slip them on smooth, they gon' fit, no problem, they always do. It's like they were made for your 2 feet. Kids laid out in the streets, no kicks, limbs askew.
You've also got a boop in the left headphone there that's coming on the 1 beat, and I think on the 3 beat too.
That's how they did my cousin in 86.
Again, we had that break, that pause, didn't we? Just after the first beat. And then it comes in for the second beat. Powerful.
Auntie saw it on the news. He had one on, one off. It was by the bare foot that she knew. My wife said the baby feet look just like you. And I thought about that when they went to sleep. I cried.
Yeah. No, it resolves there, doesn't it? So what is this chord sequence here?
2. Dog-eared Timberland boot. Saucony's on the Brooklyn stoop and pretty good.
Okay, yeah, so we do have that in there, and then occasionally the bass will go down to the E. I think the piano overall does have the E in the bass, but we have the B in the bass from the actual bass. And then occasionally it'll go down to the low E and feel resolved, even though the chord has more or less stayed the same. That's kind of interesting.
Shake, toothbrush to sway, mouth full of toothpaste, looking in the mirror like I know my day coming. I pray it's not today. Seen them coming like, hold on, wait. They know.
So we did have a slight moment there where it was doing something different, doing something like this, and then went back to the same thing before. Gunshots, scary.
Wait, doctor, read the x-rays while you read the doctor's face. I rock a clean pair of socks every day, just in case.
I guess there is a connotation with tape that it is scary, because it's sort of, you wouldn't hear sounds like that in your general environment these days. And maybe it's a tape that has been put on to brainwash you. I don't know.
Born alone, die alone, no matter who your man's is. Hope he lived long enough to tell it to his grandkids.
Very straightforward rhythmic thing here. Da 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 da. It's actually pretty much iambic rhythm, isn't it? Long, short, long, short, long, short, long, short, long, long. Okay, with 2 longs at the end there, but da 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 da. That's a really old-fashioned thing. You know, it's been going back hundreds, thousands of years maybe. And this is almost like a chorus because of it. These verses we've been hearing over and over and over and over on this album, the verses have such a fluidity to them and a lack of deliberate cohesion in the rhyme scheme. Well, the rhyme scheme is occasionally cohesive, but the rhyme scheme and the scansion don't often meet. Here they are meeting very, very clearly, and as well as that, the scansion is giving us a really simple thing. Okay, scansion meaning, I guess, how the words fit into the rhythm. It's really simple. It's not lyrical miracle stuff here. We're just going da 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 da, and that is therefore much more catchy in a way. It feels much more understandable. It will stick in your brain a lot easier.
Born alone, die alone, no matter who your man's is. Hope he live long enough to tell it to his grandkids. Born alone, die alone. Born alone, die alone.
Okay, and then we keep one segment of that, and then that repeats between two different voices. In the chorus bit there, we had two voices doing the same, or we had the on voice and the off voice. But now we've just got the on voice, but it sort of seems to be talking to itself.
Born alone, die alone. Born alone, die alone.
Also, is that putting on an accent there? I don't think that's Billy Woods' standard voice, is it? I think that's yeah, from somewhere else.
I had a zipper break on the nightstand, woke to a pile of 12s that had a skunky smell, shoemaking the L's.
Yeah, the sometimes it really comes through strongly and other times not. Similar to that previous track where the piano was coming in and out, but this is more insistent on being the focus. Which is interesting.
Go back in time, tell that young
so it's
boy,
very soft
give him
there.
Hell. If it's a fight, fight to the bell. Peep the 6 CD carousel, Scott.
Yeah, I think it's actually a filter that's getting removed from it. Maybe there's some other things too, but sometimes it's really muted sounding, and sometimes they just let that sound through.
Page in my eyes, well, I wager he never realized he was talking.
Again, it feels like we've got a fretless bass here again. But it's only doing these two notes, or these two notes, I think, E and B. So it's not the focal point at all. It's barely there.
To himself, just as well. Back in the present, busting open a pack.
Good use of a pause there again, just for that spoken voice, just as well to get through.
Get sticky with resin. I've heard it all before, like Russian peasants. That's that loop for you. That's what the loop do.
I guess also those pauses, they're not happening where we would normally expect them, which is sort of leading into a bar. They're happening as we get into the next bar, and that's an uncomfortable thing. Okay, what's just happened? We've just lost the drums. Is that for a long time?
Said Bash pulled it out the dollar bin where he had his stash, handed to Alice.
Again, a little bit of a different thing there, with a note that we weren't expecting, because we've been playing this quite nice B minor add 11 kind of thing. And then we got this F coming through there really strongly in the keys. It's weird because we've got this one main looping bit of keys, but then we've had a couple of moments where there's been an extra thing that we haven't recognized. That's such a subtle thing to do in a hip hop track. It's not like a whole new chord progression like in Golgotha, you know, where we changed all the chords, and so all the parts which were doing any pitch stuff were doing different things. Here, most of the things are just doing the same thing. It's only the piano which changes briefly. It's such a strange but unsettling idea.
Track 2,
it's just disconcerting.
Never repeats a do rhyme though, trying to catch the loophole like a gun show. Dropped out of JUCO like it's Dunzo. Puto, let's get it out the mud. Son was barefoot by the end of the month. You know how I always go. You know how I go. You know how I...
So again, we're reaching, I think, the end of the track. Okay, we didn't get 2 choruses here, but we did get 1. That was more than we normally get, so that's, I guess, a plus to this one. But again, that's slightly less of the aesthetic, isn't it? It's slightly less uncomfortable, more comfortable. And we've got some speaking again.
Born alone, die alone, no matter what your plan.
Spoke too soon. There it is. There it is. After a bit of speaking. Spoke too soon. There was a small amount of it, but not the whole of it. And it wasn't sung by two different voices, or spoken by two different voices.
Born alone, die alone, no matter what your plans is.
Hope you live long enough to tell it to his grandkids.
Nice. Okay, so we did get the whole thing in the end there. They're really playing with expectations there. That's very fun. And then that last voice there going through a really strange set of filters. Not sure what's going on there, but it sounds pretty weird, doesn't it? Sounds almost like he's eating his voice. Okay, just some piano to finish. Let's see. No, we do have the bass in the background there too. And there's the drums. And again, did you hear that difference in volume between it, that when it was by itself and then suddenly as the drums came in, very much quieter, much more shelved. And then that's going to guide us out, no doubt. Okay, yeah, that was that. Okay, so probably that time in the middle when it sounded like an F, it was being pitched down a moment like the tape does. That's interesting. But that we've heard that like 3 times then in this track, but mostly it's doing the thing. Fun, really cool, really cool. Okay, 2 more tracks. It's gonna be a little tight. I'm gonna have to try though. Lead paint test. Sounds like we're in the same key. Ooh, yeah. Pretty much the same chord, down an octave, but instead of E being the bass or B being the bass, we've got G being the bass. This gives us this G major 7 chord. Very sweet sounding, comfortable chord, not one we would expect from a horror infused record. So what perversion is going to await us as we continue? Okay, well, yeah, it didn't stay as a G for long. Yeah, it changed to this B minor 7 instead. I would say B minor 7s are still pretty comfortable. And then I think we again got this E minor 9. And then back to the B minor 7 again. Still in the same sort of key, B minor really as our key there. But yeah, I would say relatively comfortable chords, kind of sweet, relaxed, romantic, and with those fun trumpets over the top, just lost in the reverb again, lost in the delay, lost in the space. There's that G, B minor. Okay. Well, there's the perversion, isn't it? That drum as it slowly unfiltered and smashed through. Drums, very aggressive drums for what is very calm backing.
Don't find you where you idle. A death rattle for the ages. 20-year cycle, breaking mirrors, shattered gazes. Empty framing, tending to a heart. Corner creeper, lights on hallways still felt dark.
Yeah, really. I mean, very, something like that for the trumpets, and they're really soft sounding, slightly morose maybe, rather than right, a little soft. I think trumpets often do sound the saddest of instruments when they're really playing under their weight. It's nice. Anyway, they're not doing anything in particularly aggressive. It's just really soft, and it repeats regularly in the beat. So it's really just the drums and the main vocal. Is this okay? Could be a lucid. Could be cavalier. You know, I've listened to a lucid a lot, and I actually can't tell his voice from a lineup, which is a shame. I should probably have a look at that. But yeah, it could be cavalier.
Jigsaw parquet floor, detailed inlay for the preservation. The stories we
I would guess it is Elucid because I recognise this voice a little more. But if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Oh, why not? Let's just check. Lead paint test. Come on, Genius. Give me some information. Although I'm pretty sure Genius has been wrong when I've looked up of who's been rapping or who's been singing before. Yeah, okay, we've got Elucid. It's Elucid. Cool.
The stories we tell, nuclear family, nuclear fallout, still all is well. Crack plaster exposed.
Yeah, the drums feel a little bit wild. We just got that tom fill there, out of nowhere. That's not something we would normally expect, especially not to be like not at the end of a section. We would expect it at the end of a section, leading into the next section, but that's not really what's happened here. It's just come mid-section.
Brick, the wood door swings a little stiff in the summer. Pocket door rubbing track heat expansion. Say high school graduation picture on the mantle with a smile fit for
again, same thing there.
Dumb, we all know it. Steel wool crack filler. Emma passed on the back looking up at the same ceiling. Sometime I think we share some of the same feelings. Somehow, forever's a mighty.
Yeah, okay, it is happening at regular intervals, but it's such a weird thing to have. It just disrupts the flow of the backing. Strange thing to have. But overall, this is feeling like quite a calm track in comparison, isn't it? Even the drums, though they're a little wild, it's not a fast tempo. They're not doing anything particularly showy most of the time. Okay.
God bless this sweet.
Yeah, it's just some scratching, or imitated scratching at least, which produces this really fun effect, a really fun morphing of the sound. And then we've gone into something else, have we? Yeah, that's some classic sounding scratching there. It's really fun, but interesting how the rest of the track just stays on its journey, so it's not a whole record here. Maybe we've got the record of the backing going on, and then instead of the rapper being live, the rapper is recorded on another record. That's fun. It's a fun idea. But on a horror, from a horror perspective, right, it's weird to hear that warping noise. If it wasn't so easily explained, if it weren't so easily explained by it being a record scratching, that would sound really, oh my goodness, what's happening to my guy?
Hold my breath if I walk past on a visit.
Okay, so this is probably Cavalier now. We've dropped the drums for his entry. Are we going to bring them back straight away?
They replastered the last crooked paths of the lizards. My uncle
really?
is the ghost of Thanksgiving past.
Okay, there it's in uncle is the ghost of Thanksgiving past. No, but it was just the doo-doom of a little bit of the drums there, a little bit of the bass drum. Not much of anything else apart from this soft, comfortable soundscape. It's really weird how much the drums change it, isn't it? Yeah.
First floor front room Mars was the last to get the message. Now it's just tenants. Y'all wasn't here when the bandos was brick skeletons. Boss gathered like migrational change. Miguel pitching cool feathers kept breaking the drains. These ain't pains, these the regular aches. My mom slaved cause she said ownership was breaking the chains. Me and my father's main bond was that day we cursed out pigs at our gate. Every black life a thriller. Even an infant if the infamil don't kill her. Pages turn Ezra Jack.
It is an interesting place to have that fill. But as you get more comfortable with it, as you hear it more, it is actually a heralding. It doesn't do it in the same way as a normal fill was, which just brings it straight into the next section. But it gives you like a bar's warning that we're about to change. Boom. Da, 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 da. Here is the next section.
To illa fates, Arthur Miller, home was based to be in the chase from toes tagged in the chiller. Now walk past my own door, no welcome homes from the shivers. Forgiveness like the cold wind, old men remember.
It's interesting how much they have similar approaches. All of these people who rap on this album have the same kind of, we like offbeats, we like unconventional rhyming schemes. You know, maybe they're doing it because it's a Billy Woods record, I don't know, but it seems to be all the rage. and you can understand why. It sounds more naturalistic, it sounds more literate, more intellectual altogether, rather than keeping to conventional patterns. It's just that bit more more heady, more hard to understand, and deliberately convoluted. And that's fun, and that does add to the aesthetic of this, but also it just, we understand that again, like the DJ scratching, we understand that in a further field. We understand that to be part of this broader cultural movement of rap being in some ways the most intellectual music at the moment. And I think that's really interesting, because I think there's basically no reason why it has to be. I think that it would make loads of sense if the most intellectual music was actually, something merging the most complicated jazz with hip-hop. But it's interesting how when we get that, we often get a dilution of both. This feels fundamentally like hip-hop. It doesn't feel, even though we have jazzy feeling backings, we haven't got a jazz ensemble doing the backing. It's not jazz first, and it's certainly not jazz on the same level as it's hip-hop. And so I guess my main point is that I think it seems like in order to reach a real intellectual peak with a style of music, you need to go deep into what that style is, rather than trying to make a whole new amalgam of lots of different things. That said, we can look back in history and we can see things like Bitches Brew by Miles Davis, which were I mean, any casual listeners of Bitches Brew, I think, are quite exceptional people. That it's a very intense album with a lot of long songs on it, and it's it's broadly jazz, but it also has a huge influence from sort of the rock sounds of the time to some degree, R&B sounds of the time. There's loads of strange things going into Bitches Brew, and I mean, a lot of those players on it were studying music, at least to some degree as well, or they had done. So these are people who really know what they're doing at an intellectual level, and they're making something new and also really intellectually grounded, and it comes across as such. It doesn't come across as half in one camp and half in another, or only mildly committing to either. So maybe I've just proved my point wrong. I don't know. Anyway, it was very much a sidetrack, and I need to pick up the pace, so let's keep going. Okay, so that was weird, wasn't it? we had sort of a morphing, and it felt like the beat was getting faster. Let's just go back a bit and hear that.
Bill don't kill her. Pages turn Ezra Jack Keats to iller fates. Arthur Miller home was based to beat in the chase. From
so after Cavalier finishes,
my own door, no welcome home,
comes soon.
Forgiveness like the cold wind.
Here it comes. Okay, so the beat isn't getting faster, but it is seemingly glitching out a little bit, and the pitch of the backing track is shifting as well. Scary stuff. We're going into our dream state, maybe. Huge low pass filter here, keeping everything like it's underwater to some degree.
Let the children come.
Okay, and here's another of our vocal samples.
Let your mother hear you laugh.
And because everything is underwater, we can really hear the grain of that old recording too. some nice laughs. It's nice, isn't it? But it feels wrong. It feels wrong and creepy.
Half crushed by the car, dragged herself back and caterwauled. Father put out a misery on the kitchen floor.
Okay, we could have a moment of paradise there with the nice chords before those drums of doom came back in there for Billy's verse.
Mom said be proud of her, she made it home. These walls can talk, they might not, after all we don't. One door been locked since when, why it's never said, but we know. I left that house for 2 rooms, but it got a peephole. I ain't been back since then, but kids still see ghosts. I'm not.
Interesting with that peephole, bringing the voice up a bit as if it's a question, but it's not. But it's interesting that then it gets repeated each time for each of those rhymes, and that makes it even more apparent how they're not occurring in the same place in the beat.
My ancestors' dreams, they in the room wishing they could smoke and eat. Lean shadows, dust swirling, the sunbeam shadows reach for my son in dreams. Some shadows have deep, shadowing me. Crossing that threshold again, they gon' part like the sea. Silently pointing to that room, but I swear to the Lord, I never had the key. Somehow it's in my hand now, that brass turn.
So interestingly, Billy is sitting over this beat in a slightly different way, so the duk-duk-duk-duk actually comes in a different part of the overall structure. So we have longer after that before it feels like it gets back to its first moment. That's a really interesting and subtle thing, but quite strange.
Green, grass dead in the yard, Philistines chopped down the avocado tree. I put my ear to the door, but all I could hear was my heartbeat.
Actually, I might be wrong about that, because we did just get it. You know, it's one of the perils of me stopping and starting this is sometimes I lose perspective of where we started the verse. So I could well be wrong about that, but I'm not going to go back. There we got the and then we got silence, and then we came back in with the next thing.
God bless this sweet home.
Okay, so we're back to our, it almost feels like a chorus, doesn't it? This wept up, God bless. We've heard it before anyway.
God bless this sweet home. Beloved home. My beloved home.
What kind of evil you got there?
It ain't evil.
There's this bzzz, which is probably an engine coming in there with this vocal sample. So 2 people talking on a motorbike or something like that.
Just say it. Come on. Step on.
Okay, just had to deal with a situation, sorry about that, but we're basically done here, aren't we? We've heard our vocal sample, so we know we're on the way out. And we've disconnected. Yeah, engine picking someone up or dropping them off, I don't know. Dislocated, final track, let's go. Okay, is it a China cymbal? That's an unusual cymbal sound, and it's either going to be a splash or a China. I think it's a China. It sounds weird. Bang, bang, bang. So yeah, there's a few different cymbal sounds. I don't know how to describe the difference, and I'm clearly now in a high anxiety, not high anxiety exactly, but high adrenaline state. So let's feed it. Let's do more. Okay, so we've got these quite comfortable chords in the middle, something like that, with that in the bass. Let's hear it again. Yeah. Something like that. And I think we change to that in the bass later on. Okay, give me a minute. These situations, man, they keep happening. I apologise. Okay, Dislocated, yeah. So we were doing this nice F minor 9, maybe with a B flat as the bass sometimes, which then makes it this crazy 13 chord. Beautiful, beautiful stuff, very jazzy. Maybe it doesn't have that, but it does. Maybe go to more of G minor. That's interesting. No. That was actually that, wasn't it? Which is a G minor chord with a C in the bass. C doesn't fit in that chord. So it gives us more of a sort of C minor 9, sort of C minor 9, but we're missing the third, so it doesn't quite feel like that. Yeah, interesting chords. Fun. They're nice, and they are not conventional, but they're also not particularly discordant. The minor 9 has this fight in it, but it's a very romantic, sweet chord. And this one is just very open in a strange way. And now we've got a violin over the top. Interesting, this is quite a long intro for these tracks. We did something like that, didn't we? Let's hear it one more time. Very soft. Okay. And that lower one, probably not a violin. Because that's lower than a normal violin's range.
Location, 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 location. I won't be.
Okay, who's this? Is this Q-Tip or someone? Okay, it's not Elucid, so it's probably Human Error Club. Cool.
Located. Location, 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 location. I won't be located.
So the drums here are much softer than they were in the previous track, much softer than they have been on a lot of tracks. This feels more sad overall, doesn't it, than scary. But this main vocal here, location, 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 be located. Interesting how that fits over the beat, isn't it? It's almost like 3s against 4s. But it feels just a little bit before the beat for that. So yeah, we get this cross rhythm of 3s against 4s, and we also get it slightly off. So there's a little bit of a phasing weirdness to it. It's fun.
Location, 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 location. I won't.
Okay. So that's where the main voice is. This F minor chord, it's C, which is quite nicely in that chord. And then the other one is up on the F. So that works quite fine for the chord. Interesting choice.
Be located. Location, 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 location. I won't be located.
That was that a shorter set of phrases? Let's just hear that again. So the first one.
Location, 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 location. I won't be located.
Okay, no, fine.
Location, 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 location. I won't be located.
Okay, it's just 4 locations.
Location, 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 location. I won't be located.
And then,
Location, 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 location. I won't be located.
Okay, same each time. Except for that third time where we got the higher voice as well, which was a strange choice, but it definitely works. Not the first time we've had pitched vocals on this, but they're mostly pitched down. Whoa, making it deeper like that. But this one, location, location, making it higher. Horrible.
Someone else's dream.
Okay, we've got more of the spacey stuff going on here.
Firekeeper.
What was going on with the drums there? Let's hear that again.
Someone else's dream. Out of reach.
Yeah, weirdly not in the groove, not in the pocket. Da-boom, da-boom, da-boom. I mean, there might well be something going on there rhythmically, but I don't have time to work it out. But yeah, an odd thing that is going away from this dum 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 rhythm that we've normally got on here.
Firekeeper for this life it leads.
Same thing. Yeah.
Guide my feet.
And especially strange because almost all of these tracks that we've had here have been snare on the backbeat. So it's been 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1, 2. This one doing a very different thing with snare and drum. Really feels like mad.
I'm entirely someone else's dream.
And this voice as well. Boom. Yeah, just giving into whatever kind of strange distortion. Yeah, feels a lot more brash, a lot less calculated. It's very interesting.
Someone else's dream. Out of reach. Firekeeper for this life at least. Wire.
Okay, it feels like we've changed groove now. So instead of that dum 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 dum, and now it's dum 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 dum. So we've really changed the tempo. Tempo change in rap is really rare. So it's a really fun feeling.
Wire way, guide my feet. I'm entirely.
Is that what's happened though? The drums are so changeable here that it's hard to even say that.
Someone else's dream.
Yeah, what is going on?
Someone else's dream.
So much crazy stuff.
The wealth recede, my belts recede and expand.
But yeah, now it really does feel dun dun dun. And so we go to this chord for those last two, and then back to this one. That kind of thing.
Say what I said, it doesn't need a response. Taking space when I want. To the east by land, seam, cut, weave with my hands. As light advances, exposed beams.
The drums feel so crazy that they must have been programmed. I don't think there's anyone who plays like this, who actually plays drums. This feels really off the beaten path, like just randomly programmed. It's really interesting. But I think, yeah, I don't know. It feels less honed than a lot of things here. And while it's unexpected and strange, it also feels a little bit funny in a way that maybe is not appropriate. I don't know.
Good form, still gambling.
It's definitely dislocated, isn't it?
Texting 3 black hearts on a landing strip. Fear of abandonment, not my bag. Don't need to handle it. Feeling like a man.
Now it's doing fucking blast beats. This is crazy. Just so different to the backing, isn't it? The soft chords doing their regular rhythm, and then we've got crazy.
Whatever that spell, psychic faults and damages. Bleeding with my hammer, bloody gauzy bandages. Blind decantuses, texture coarse, quicker sand to sift. I crew horse, standing in. Give my black ass the kiss. A standard win. The level's been leveled. The level in the forest, face painted.
The level. Thank you, Elucid. Yeah, hilarious, really. Nice. We had nice violins underneath there, going up, doing something like something like that, as well as everything else going on.
Fingertips black with charcoal. I waited and
yeah, very lush ones emerging in that higher range.
I ate it. I can't be located. I can't be located. Face pixelated. Face pressed to the pavement, knee in my spine, the crowd undulated, phones raised. In there I'm faceless. She's under me, eyes searching my face. Baby girl, just face it. I'd rather carry it myself. I already paid the freightage. I played fake.
Feels like it's calming down a little bit here, but that might just be the calm before the storm.
It's the basis. Miles Davis. I slept in the basement. False pride jotted on the paper. I can't be located. Shadows flit between leaves, blotches of green.
So that I can't be located suddenly has this bigger atmosphere, everything sounding larger and more boomy, and then it goes straight back down.
Come in here with me, you can't come in here, you'll see, you can't come in here with me.
Drums seem to be fading out.
Located.
Yeah, located. Pitch down voice again. Okay, and then no drums. But a nice electric piano solo. Not the most genius thing I've ever heard, but an interestingly off-kilter, interestingly off-piste ending to this album, both in mood and in style. Really, the use of the drums there entirely unique on the album. The use of the electric piano solo. Also, not in keeping with things going on here. We would normally have some level of clip from a film to go out there. The intro was also bereft of clips. We didn't get any clips in the whole thing. So an interesting one to end with there that does feel wrongly located on the end of this album. I don't know if that is genius or just a bit silly. But yeah, it is the end of this quite impressively complicated album, impressively coherent in general though, but interestingly with that one at the end that doesn't quite feel the same. Then again, ending tracks are often used as the pivot towards a new record, so maybe the next Billy Woods album is going to sound more like that, with more unique approaches to texture and unique approaches to instrumentation use. That would be interesting, wouldn't it? That would be quite unexpected, but I think there's a potential for it. You know, Billy Woods is unconventional and masterful, and so anything that he puts his attention to, I imagine, will probably come off in a really interesting manner. Just like this, just like Hiding Places, just like Ethiopies. You know, I'm not hot on everything that he's done. Brass is pretty cool with More Mother. But yeah, he's certainly an incredible musician that makes incredible music, and this album is an example of that. A really long, or at least multi-track album that has an incredibly strong holding glue of this horror theme, or this sadness, down emotions kind of theme all the way through. It's really cool. It's very rarely done to this degree, so well done to him. It's one of the best albums of the year. It's not my favourite, but I would say probably if you were to rank it and give it number one, you would be doing it for its artistic integrity and its complexity. I think it's hard to argue that there's a more artistically well connected, at least mainstream album. Not that this is probably mainstream, I have no idea, but you know, it's well lauded, isn't it? It's what critically acclaimed, and that's the mainstream that I think about most of the time. It's critically lauded, and also it's artistically coherent. I think it wins that against most other albums released this year. Anyway, that was fun, wasn't it? I need to go. Have a great life and day, and see you in the morrow for another stream, or see you on Saturday/Sunday when I upload the other video. Bye.